In the past 24 hours, the two presidential candidates gave dueling town halls. Now, Kamala did one during our show last night, which we're going to give you the lowlights of because that's really all there was. But Trump gave one at 11 a.m. today. Both were catered towards a very specific audience. Kamala was with Charlamagne the guy. I can't believe that's the worst name. Anyway, to entice young black voters, and Trump's was to an exclusively woman audience. But as I'm watching, I couldn't help but notice there was this glaring difference between the issues and how they were addressed. There was very little overlap in the issues, but when there was, it was like wildly different. It was totally different paths for America. Kamala was asked about cultural issues like marijuana, police brutality, race issues, and Trump was asked about Social Security, the economy, child tax credits, illegal immigration, energy, and he made a bold pledge.
We have the best, most beautiful, we have the best and the most. And we have to get, if we get energy down, and I'm making this pledge here, but I have made it a couple of days before, so you know. But energy, your energy bill, which is a very big bill, will be down 50% starting on 1 year from January 20th.
That's bold. He made the point that you can bring down prices and bring our economy back by drilling for oil. This is something this administration under Biden has tried to limit. They've issued no new drilling permits to oil companies. And what Harris's answer to the people's economic woes was?
My agenda is about tapping into the ambitions and the aspirations, knowing that folks want to have an opportunity. If they want, they should have a meaningful opportunity to build wealth, including intergenerational wealth.
What does that mean? Ambitions and aspirations. That sounds nice, these placid niceties, but that ain't going to cut it if your tax rate is higher than anywhere else in the world, like she has proposed. Ambition doesn't cover a bottom line. And generational wealth, she's proposed as much as a 65% inheritance tax, not to mention an unrealized capital gains tax. How do you think that's going to fare for intergenerational wealth if you confiscate 65% of it, Kamala? And since she doesn't actually have a plan for anything, she just results to fear-mongering.
Part of the challenge that I face is that they are trying to scare people away because they know they otherwise have nothing to run on. Ask Donald Trump what his plan is for Black America. Ask him. I'll tell you what it is. Look at Project 2025.
Kamala is right about one thing. Trump doesn't have a specific plan for Black America. He has a plan for America, but not just for Black people. And this is what I hate about Democrats. They divide people up in these little groups and play identity politics. And it's like the most racist thing in the world. Then they call Republicans racist. Kamala came out and said that I'm going to give $20 billion of handouts only to Black people. You can't do that. And it's not solving the problem anyway. It's pandering, but it won't pass. And even if it did, it wouldn't help. It's the give a man a fish, teach a man to fish concept. This is the litmus test for any Democrats listening. Anything you propose, take out the word black and insert the word white. Would that be a problem? Yes? Well, guess what? Then it's probably just as racist as if you had the word black in there. Could you imagine for like half a second, Trump came out and said, you know what? I'm going to give white people loans, and it's only for white people. That's the same thing that Kamala Harris is doing. So you ask what Trump's plan for Black America is. You know what it is? Make America great again. All of America. Not white, nor yellow, not brown or black. All of America. Like all lives matter. That was so controversial because when he did it last time, it was the lowest Black unemployment for Black people in almost ever. And Kamala was actually asked. Actually, it was a very clear question.
For some reason, the narrative is that the economy does better under Republicans. Why do people believe that, and why don't Democrats push back on that narrative more?
Well, I think that part of the issue is that Democrats probably talk about it more in terms of what we are doing for people rather than the economy, when in fact, when you do for people, the economy grows.
Well, People believe that, Charlamagne, because it's true, because people are not better off under Democrats. The economy is better under Republicans, as you can see right here. Real wages right here. Trump made this point today, not only on how he's going to reform the economy, but point blank, how he's already done it.
And we're going to bring down your energy costs, and with that, everything's going to follow. We're also going to make it possible for companies to come into our country again. You know, we've lost so many businesses. If you're in furniture making, like in North Carolina, they're flocking out of our country because we have politicians that don't know what to do. We're bringing them all back. We have a tax rate that's going to lure them, and we're going to protect them with tariffs so they can make money and so they don't get stolen. But we're going to have record-setting jobs. And just to know, I mean, the advantage I have is that I've done it.
Kamala is in power now. She knows she can't compete with that. She can't say she's made anything better. So she comes out with this: reparations.
Well, first of all, on the point of reparations, it has to be studied. There's no question about that. And I've been very clear about that position.
Yeah, you have. Look, anyone who thinks this is a good idea is probably already voting for it, okay? Some black people are on board with this. I think some find it insulting, though, and condescending. I certainly think it is. And like self-hating white liberals absolutely love this. But they already have the "I'm with her" sticker on their Subaru from 2016, so it doesn't move the needle. Forget about the fact that this would never pass like all of her other policies. You think they could ever pass, honestly, a reparations bill through appropriations to tax a bunch of people who never enslaved anyone in order to pay people who were never enslaved? This conversation is so dumb. Something I have yet, though, to see Kamala have any substance on, Trump addressed today: Social Security.
We're not going to tax any of the Social Security money, the benefits that go to seniors, because what you've done, what they've done to you with inflation is a disaster.
Social Security is the political third rail for basically any politician. Why? Well, because most people will give $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 in Social Security payments for their entire lives. Out of every single paycheck, there's a line item. It's like, well, there goes more money. And they count on that being there because the government said it would be. That was a lie. There's no money there. And after paying into it, most people, like me, I'll probably only take out $200,000 or $300,000 over the rest of my entire retirement. So damn right it should be there, and it shouldn't be taxed. And Trump said this will be offset by massive cuts to the federal government, like the Department of Education. And libs freak out. Oh my God, Trump wants kids to be stupid. No. The Department of Education was started under Jimmy Carter, a Democrat, in 1979. And in that time, you know what happened? America was #1 in education worldwide. In 40 years, after federal government control of our teachers and teaching, you know what happened? We moved all the way down to 24th in the world. So I want the federal government as far away from education as possible. It will also save us $300 billion a year. Maybe they can put that back in the account for Social Security. This just goes to show, I don't think Kamala Harris understands what is going on here. What is at stake? She tried to articulate this.
At stake is truly profound and almost and historic, many would say. And it's about, you know, some people would say this lofty notion of supporting and preserving our democracy. Mm-hmm. But it is about real issues that affect people every day, like whether we're going to maintain a $35 cap on insulin for our seniors, whether we're going to continue to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices to bring them down, whether we are going to have, as my opponent would have, a formalized stop and frisk policy.
I mean, does she actually talk to Americans, or is it just like Fed talking point? I mean, this is about affording your groceries, filling your car, having a say in your kids' education, not getting terrorist attacks, and and keeping China at bay, and keeping the global currency as the U.S. dollar. By the way, it was Trump who capped insulin prices, Harris, and she's tried to co-opt that. And in an interview where she condemned misinformation, I certainly heard a lot of it.
Pieces of misinformation. One of the biggest allegations against you is that you targeted and locked up thousands of black men in San Francisco for weed. Some say you did it to boost your career. Some say you did it out of pure hate for black men. Please tell us the facts. What's the facts of that situation?
It's just simply not true. And what public defenders who are around those days will tell you, I was the most progressive prosecutor in California on marijuana cases.
No, you were the most progressive senator in the U.S. Senate. You were not a progressive prosecutor. You did, in fact, lock up a ton of people for minor drug offenses that you now want to legalize. Look, these dueling town halls were like serious versus non-serious. Kamala is trying to be the populist candidate that Donald Trump already is. The problem is she's just not popular. One thing's for sure. The more we see of her, the worse she does in the polls. And I'm super here for it.